Once upon a time, in a small village in Africa, there lived a poor hunter named Akna. He was kind, brave, and strong, but he didn't have much. He lived in a small hut and hunted for food to survive. One day, the village was struck by fear. A dangerous leopard had been terrorizing the land. It killed livestock, destroyed crops, and frightened the villagers. The beast had sharp claws, glowing eyes, and a roar that could be heard from miles away. No one dared to leave their homes after sunset. The king of the village, in his desperation, announced, "Whoever kills the leopard will be rewarded with my daughter's hand in marriage." The villagers whispered in awe. The princess Izara was known for her beauty and wisdom. But, to Akna, she was more than just a princess, she was the love of his life. Akna dreamed of being with her, but he was just a poor hunter. He had no hope of winning her heart. But now, there was a chance. Akna decided to face the leopard, even if it meant risking his life. That night, with nothing but his bow and arrows, he walked into the dark forest, alone. The trees stretched high above him, their branches twisting like arms reaching out to grab him. The air was thick with silence. As Akna moved deeper into the forest, a chill ran down his spine. The shadows seemed to move, and he could hear strange rustling sounds. His heart beat faster with every step. He had heard stories of people who had gone into the forest to hunt the leopard but never returned. But Akna refused to turn back. He could hear the growls of the leopard in the distance, low and menacing. Suddenly, the loud screech echoed through the trees, and Akna froze in place. His eyes darted to the left. There, in the moonlight, he saw the leopard's glowing eyes staring back at him. It was massive, with fur as black as the night itself, and teeth that gleamed like knives. It let out a deafening roar, and Ikenga's legs trembled. For a moment, Akna wanted to run, but then he remembered the princess and his people. He couldn't turn away now. He pulled an arrow from his quiver and knocked it to his bow. The leopard slowly circled him, its body low to the ground, its eyes never leaving Akna. Ikenga's breath came in quick gasps as the tension built. He aimed, but the leopard was too fast. With one leap, the beast lunged at him. Akna barely managed to dodge, but he stumbled backward, falling to the ground. The leopard's claws slashed through the air, missing him by inches. Ikenga's heart raced. This was no ordinary animal. It was something unnatural. Akna scrambled to his feet and ran, his legs carrying him as fast as they could. Behind him, the leopard's growl grew louder. It was gaining on him. He could feel its hot breath on the back of his neck. Every step was a fight for survival. The forest seemed to stretch endlessly before him, but there was no way out. Suddenly, Akna stumbled upon a deep ravine. His eyes widened in panic. He couldn't run any farther. The leopard was closing in, its growls shaking the ground beneath him. Ikenga's mind raced. He could either face the leopard or risk falling into the ravine. In that moment, a plan formed in his mind. He grabbed a nearby vine and tied it to a branch above. He knew the leopard wouldn't be able to climb, but he had to time it just right. With the leopard only a few feet away, Akna swung the vine and leapt across the ravine. For a moment, he felt weightless, but then he landed on the other side, rolling to his feet. He turned to face the leopard, which was now standing at the edge of the ravine, roaring in frustration. Akna took a deep breath and reached for another arrow. The leopard seemed to hesitate for a moment, its eyes narrowing. It was smart, Akna realized. It knew he was dangerous. But the beast was too close now. Akna aimed, pulling the bowstring back with all his strength. He could hear his heartbeat in his ears. His hands were shaking, but he steadied his breath and let the arrow fly. The arrow flew through the air with a deadly swish, and this time, it struck true. The leopard howled in pain, its body shaking as it fell to the ground. It struggled for a moment, but then it lay still, defeated. Akna stood, panting, sweat dripping from his forehead. His body ached, but his heart soared. He had done it. He had killed the leopard. But there was no time to celebrate. The danger wasn't over yet. He knew he had to return to the village quickly. He gathered his courage and began to make his way back through the forest, the weight of the leopard's body on his mind. He couldn't shake the feeling that something else was watching him, following him. But he couldn't stop now. As he neared the village, the first light of dawn began to break through the trees. The village was quiet, as if holding its breath. Akna stepped into the clearing, and when the people saw him, they gasped in disbelief. The leopard's body was over his shoulder, proof of his victory. The villagers cheered, their fear melting away in the light of his bravery. The king, who had been waiting anxiously in the palace, greeted Akna with open arms. "You have saved us all," the king said, his eyes proud. "As promised, you will marry my daughter, Princess Zara." Akna smiled at Zara, who stood beside her father. She walked toward him, her eyes full of admiration and gratitude. He had won more than just the princess's hand in marriage. He had proven to himself that even a poor hunter could achieve greatness. "You are a hero, Akna," she said softly. "I knew you were brave, but now I see the depth of your courage." Ikenga's heart swelled, and as he stood there, beside the woman he loved, he knew that his life had changed forever. The villagers celebrated, and the jungle was finally at peace. The leopard was gone, and the village was safe once more. But Akna would never forget the terrifying night when he faced the darkness alone, and how it led him to the happiness he had always dreamed of. And so, Akna and Princess Zara lived happily ever after, ruling the village together, their love as strong as the bravery Akna had shown in the face of danger.